So Monday morning, we all woke up and saw this image online after something had clearly gone terribly wrong. We're now 24 hours past the incident, and here's what we know so far. Air Canada Express 8646 was operated by Jazz. This is a Halifax-based airline that operates as a regional carrier for Air Canada. The plane in question was a Bombardier CRJ 900. It was built in 2005 in Canada and registered as C-Golf November Juliet Zulu. The plane spent Saturday night in Atlanta before departing just after noon for Montreal. It then flew to LaGuardia, back to Montreal, and then back to LaGuardia, and it's on that leg where the incident occurred. The plane was then scheduled to stay overnight and fly back to Montreal at 6:05 a.m. Monday morning, which of course didn't happen. So what happened? It's an airport diagram of LaGuardia Airport. So at 10:39, United Flight 2384, which is a 737 MAX 8, bound for Chicago O'Hare, is cleared for takeoff on runway 13, which is this runway over here. 45 seconds after they are cleared, they abort the takeoff due to an anti-ice warning light. So they'll exit from one of these taxiways here, and they end up holding on Bravo. This is in the way and generates extra workload for the controller, who now has to route other traffic around them while they sort out the issue. At 11:09 p.m., United is ready to try again, and they taxi back to the start of runway 13 via G. So they're going to travel down B likely here through Gulf up to runway 13. And yeah, so they attempt their takeoff again, abort this one for a second time, reporting an odor in the cabin and requesting return to the gate with airport fire to attend. So they exit the runway, end up back on B, and wait further instructions. So between 11:23 and 11:29, the ground controller is now working to try and get United back to the gate and to reach someone on the ramp who can give them a gate to go to, since the one that they left from is now occupied. With United now being stuck on taxiway B and looking to avoid further congestion problems, the ground controller attempts to move them to a better spot to access fire services. So from B, they're told to turn left onto Kilo and then right onto Alpha, holding short of Echo, which would bring them to this area here, which is about as close as you can get to the fire department without crossing runway 04. So the fire department's located over here, and the emergency vehicles are going to cross at Delta to meet the plane here. Unfortunately, United bungles the instructions, and instead of turning right, they turn left at Alpha and basically get instructed to hold here short of lane 8. So they're going to sit here and wait for fire to reach them. It's unclear what the odor was, but there's some speculation it may have been lavatory related or possibly overheated brakes due to the rejected takeoff and a fully fueled heavy aircraft. At 11:31 p.m., United 2384 declares an emergency due to the odor, and car 90 is cleared to cross runway 4 at CY. So they're in this area and they cross over here to attend to the United flight, which is here on taxiway A short of 8. At 11:35, Jazz 646 is cleared to land on runway 04. And less than a minute later, the United flight is requesting a gate or stairs. So runway 04 is this one here. And so our flight is going to be landing there. 2 seconds after the United flight is requesting gates or stairs, Dell 2603 calls the tower on final behind Jazz 646 and is told to stand by. Truck 1 Plus Company also calls for clearance to cross at Delta. So they're coming from the fire hall. They're going to cross at Delta, and that clearance is granted. At 11:37, the United flight, which is holding over here on Alpha short of 8, is cleared to gate 41, which is located in Terminal B in this leg over here. And 7 seconds later, the controller realizes his mistake and calls Truck 1, instructing them to stop, stop, stop. The truck obviously doesn't stop, and that's when it's struck by Jazz 646 at the Delta crossover. The fire engine that was struck comes to a rest in the grassy area over here, and the CRJ comes to a rest over here on the Echo crossover. So on this trip, there were 72 passengers and 4 crew on board. The pilots were Captain Antoine Forêt and First Officer Mackenzie Gunther. Both were killed in the crash. The forward flight attendant was ejected from the aircraft and was found strapped to her seat on the runway. Solange Tremblay suffered multiple fractures to one leg and will require surgery. Statements from passengers indicate that the front row passengers were trapped and required rescue. 40 people were hospitalized, though several were later released. The occupants of the fire truck were Sergeant Michael Orsillo and Officer Adrian Baez. Both were taken to hospital. One is expected to be released on Monday, and the other was to be kept overnight for observation. Airport rescue and firefighting services at LaGuardia are provided by the Port Authority Police Emergency Services Unit. These are trained firefighters, but they are also sworn police officers. The vehicle in question that was struck was Truck 35, which you can see in the photo here. So if we look at the aircraft damage and compare it to a seating chart, we can see that everything forward of the forward door is basically gone, and the area behind the door is heavily damaged. So we can see there's the flight deck where the pilots were. That's just completely gone. Behind that in the center is where that forward flight attendant sits who was ejected. She would be near the door. And then we have the galley and the lavatories before we get into the first row of business class. So you can see we have a window in that service space, a window by the lavatory. So those areas are damaged. And then that third one is where we get into the first row of business class. The pilots were evidently aware of the runway incursion. Passengers report excessively hard braking, and we can see that the thrust reversers are deployed on the flight as we would expect them to. So why did this happen? Reports are that one controller was working both tower and the ground. The United 2384 flight was having a bad time and needed a lot of controller attention. It would have been ideal if that single controller handling tower and ground would have been able to punt them off to someone to coordinate fire, find them a gate, and assist them in their movements. Well, it's really easy to blame this whole incident on the screw-up of the single controller, clearing an airplane and a fire truck to be at the same place at the same time. Really, that controller was task saturated, and it's unfair to pin this on him. He was doing his best, and unfortunately, when the system lets you down, doing your best isn't always enough, and I really think that's what happened there. Others have pointed out that U.S. airports have in-pavement lighting to signal when runways are in use. In the video of the collision, we can see that there is a red light showing in the pavement that should have been visible to the fire truck drivers. In this case, those lights are automated and have precedence over whatever clearance the tower may give you. So if you are cleared to cross the runway, but that light is still red, it's because the runway system believes that there is a conflicting traffic and you should wait until that light clears. I also think it's possible that the crew driving the fire truck should have been able to see the airplane if they looked down the runway. Airplanes have landing lights, and they should be visible against the runway. I was not driving the truck, so I don't want to say that they absolutely should have, but certainly looking both directions before crossing the street would seem to apply here. We have the security video of the crash, and it's pretty clear that visibility was decent because we can see the lights and the plane pretty clearly from a distance. Also from the video, it looks like the rest of the convoy following truck 1 continued to hold and was seemingly aware of either the stop instruction or of the oncoming traffic. So a couple of questions that have been asked with regards to this incident are, what if the plane was bigger? Well, in November 2022, a LATAM A321neo was on its takeoff roll when it struck airport rescue firefighting truck from behind. The collision tore the engine off the plane, collapsed the landing gear, and started a fire. In that case, all passengers and crew of the aircraft survived. However, the 3 firefighters in the truck were killed. So what's next? Well, obviously there'll be an investigation. Both black boxes have been recovered from the aircraft, and they will be analyzed for the cockpit voice recorder and parameters on the airplane. The NTSB will obviously be pulling all the various radio recordings from inside the tower and the fire department, and interviewing all the witnesses and people involved. Incidents like this tend to always be a string of failures where, multiple small mistakes compound into a large tragedy. And it seems to be what happened here. The controller was overworked. They missed that they had cleared the CRJ to land and allowed the fire trucks to enter the runway. The fire truck seemingly missed the aircraft, missed the warning lights. And if any one of those things succeeded, this whole incident could have been avoided. My thoughts are with the family, friends, and coworkers of the flight crew, the injured passengers, the firefighters, and certainly the air traffic controller, who must be in a horrible, horrible state for something that I don't believe is his fault.